It must have been quite a trying time for the band the last, year, 18 months or so.
It was a little tricky, you know. It was a little tricky. It was a bit of an ordeal, but, you know, we knew that. I mean, to be real honest about it, we knew, you know, that things were going to be tricky because, you know, it's like you're driving down the freeway and you realize you're going to have to change the battery in your car. You know, you got to stop and pull over, you know, and let all the other cars pass you. And, you know, I mean, there's a lot of crap that you got to do. But, do you know what I mean? I mean, we knew it would be a process and an ordeal, but we also knew that once we did it, we would feel better, and we felt that it would be a lot better for us. So you know, we knew that we had to. We knew there was no choice. That's when we made our decision, but we also knew that it would take, you know, it would take some doing. Yeah.
Did the tension from, like, finding a new guitarist give you plenty of substance to draw from for the new album?
I would say, yeah. And just to compare it, you know, it seems like whenever we've sort of gone through a big upheaval in this band, it's made us focus. That's the word I was looking for, really. We do well when we need to all focus, you know. And when we fired Chuck, you know, we were really excited about focusing on the future when we wrote The Real Thing, you know, and when, you know, just things like that. It for us, it's really important as a band to have a focus. And this record, there was definitely a focus. We wanted to do something that was very to the point, you know, very straightforward, very strong, and sort of not complex.
Yeah, it's probably a more focused album, like you used that word yourself. It's a more focused album than Angel Dust was.
Well, I hope so. You know, rather than, I think Angel Dust was sort of putting everything in that could go in. You know, everything that could go in, we just put in. And on this one, we really only put in exactly what was like the main point. You know, just right to the exact particular point, rather than sort of having all the different things together.
Trey Spruance played guitar on the record.
Yeah.
But he's not touring with you. What's the story there?
Well, he got really upset when I called him a coward, so I won't call him a coward. He was, in his own words, he wasn't up for the commitment of touring for 12 to 15 months at a time. He hadn't been away from home like that. He did one little small Mr. Bungle tour that was like 4 weeks or 3 weeks, you know. He was overwhelmed by it. And his whole thing was, he didn't need, and again, in his words, you know, I mean, because it's kind of a tricky thing, but, you know, in his words, he didn't need to tour, he said. He said, I don't need to tour, you know. I don't need to work. That's what he said.
Oh.
To look at it like that, you know, I don't want a guy on stage that looks at it like that.
Yeah, fair enough.
It ain't right. You know, and Mike, you know, had called it. Mike Patton, you know, the only guy who knew him, he called it. He said, before we even started playing with him, he said, you know, he does a good job. He's a great guitarist, but man, he's not dependable, and he's not gonna be able to do it the way we do it. And you know, and he was right.
And I suppose, well, through Mr. Bungle, Mike would have been the closest to him anyway, wouldn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, right, exactly. He was the only guy that knew him. I mean, we all just knew of him, you know, through him. So, you know, and he was right. But the cool thing that I'm glad to say, I mean, that's sort of like a loaded thing. It's like a loaded issue. But the cool thing about it is, I like the way he played on the record, and he helped us get exactly what we wanted, you know, out of our songs. And you know, he came to us when we had the songs written, and we said, hey, we hear this, or what about that? And he was able to work with us. So that experience, I ain't going to knock that experience, because it was cool and the result is good.
How did you come across Dean Menta?
Dean is a friend of ours. You know, Dean is a good guy. And
so he was Roddy's keyboard tech on the Angel Dust tour, is that right?
Yeah, and he's our bass player's roommate.
Oh, okay. So you obviously knew each other quite well.
Well, exactly. And it's kind of a point of laughing about it. It's like, you know, they say, you know, he was sitting there under our nose, you know. I mean, he heard the songs when we were working on them, you know. I mean, he was around when we were, like, me and Billy were playing in his house, you know, checking him out. And, you know, he's a good guy. And he's into it. He's committed to what we're doing. And, you know, there's a good give and take. You know, we understand, you know, him, and he understands us, and so, you know, it's worked out fine. It sounds real funky, you know, on paper especially, but
Great.
again, you know, we needed to do what we did, you know, whether it was sacking Jim and working with somebody else, getting some distance, you know, and figuring out what we wanted, and then we realized, you know, it was under our nose all the time, which is cool.
Well, Faith No More have been known in the past for a fair bit of tension within the band. How much easier is it these days with all you guys like pulling in the same direction?
Well, you know, it's just now that there's sort of new tigers that we shoot at. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's like before it was us, you know. Now there's other crap, but it feels it's really gratifying that it's not everybody sniping at each other. It's really gratifying that kind of nastiness is gone. You know,
It must make it a whole lot easier to like to sit in the studio together, to tour together, to just be together. I mean, it's...
How about stand on stage?
Yeah.
I mean, it means a lot to me, and I know the other guys feel the same way. It means a lot to me to stand on stage with somebody that I know is busting his ass and is as committed as I am. Because I couldn't say that before, and it really frustrated me. That was the worst part about the last tours that we did with Jim, not the music, you know, but just actually the personal, like, you know, I mean, we knew he wasn't into the music, you know, because he'd, you know, Jesus, read an interview, he'd said it, you know, and that was hard because we only do it because we believe in it, you know.
Yeah.
That's the definition of it.
It must have been a weird buzz for him to, like, be doing it for those years and not be into it.
I think it was gradual. I think it sort of gradually slipped away. And I think as we became, you know, more kind of quote-unquote successful, and there's sort of other shit, you know, that could give you, you know, an erection, if you will. You don't sort of have to get the erection from the music, which is what started in the first place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sort of changes, and it hasn't changed for us. It's the music that we're doing, and that's why we made the change. That's why we, you know, went through the crap that we had to go through. I mean, because we felt like we had, you know, music that we wanted to bring to people.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's cool. I mean, it depends on what kind of band you're in. It depends on, you know, it depends on a lot of stuff and what you're into it for. Because there's a lot of bands where maybe that would work great, but it just didn't work right for us because it was sort of 4 guys and 1 guy. You know, if it was 5 guys all feeling the same, or if it was 2 and 3, or, you know, whatever, you know, it would be different, but it was just so obvious.
How much, like, you guys live in LA, don't you, basically?
I live in San Francisco.
In San Francisco, yeah. How much has the environment that you actually live in got to do with your songwriting, you know? Like, I mean, it's, you know, all you guys, like, play fairly extreme music. You know, is it, you know, a lot of it got to do with what you see in your everyday lives? Well,
I think for me, it really started, I got this phrase, and I don't know if it's going to really be appropriate for the radio, but since we're just talking, I'll let you be the judge.
Okay.
My phrase is this: you shit what you eat. And for me, I've always really been into really heavy music. You know, when I was young, whether it was Jimi Hendrix, you know, or Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, early Scorpions, you know, after that, you know, I was really, I feel blessed at this point that I saw the Sex Pistols play their last show, you know, Killing Joke, Black Flag, you know, heavy, aggressive music, pretty much all down the line. And I think that it's just, to me, it's just more of that. You know, it's just more of what I chew on, you know, kind of comes out, you know. And I've always chewed on heavy stuff. I've always been interested in, you know, the power, you know, the just the really super aggressive stuff. So to me, it's more that. I mean, you know, that you wake up and you find a dead body on your, you know, on your doorstep. You know, I don't know. That ain't so much it for me.
And you guys are doing your shows over here with Peyote. They're a really good band.
Yeah, they actually sent us.
I haven't seen them live, but...
CD? Yeah, they have a CD, right?
Yeah.
They sent us one, yeah. They sent us one.
I haven't seen them live yet, but on record, they're great.
Yeah, it sounded good.
Yeah.
We actually, you know, I mean, we have to approve these things.
Yeah.
So, well, cool, man.
Yeah. All right, Mike, it's been great to talk to you, man.
Right on. Definitely.
I wish I could see you on Tuesday night, but like I said, I'll be working, so best of luck with the show.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, man.
Thanks, Mike.